Peace to all my peoples in the ethos and everywhere in the diaspora. It's the Real HD Show. It's the show you're going to find on these or any other airwaves where we tackle the good, the bad, the ugly of our culture, our people, our time, our era, and we solve it with what? We solve it with freedom music. Freedom music happens on these airwaves from 7:30 to 8 p.m. We play all that good hip hop, R&B, funk, house, bass, jazz, reggae, all that good motivational music to put battery in your back and keep you going. So make sure you tap in. You hit the call letters below and you come on back with me and we can rock like we supposed to. And then we do this to preempt the show. But that's cool. Y'all come on through. We do what we have to do. Um, Glad everybody could join us tonight. We are officially here for this right here. Yeah, that's what's on the docket for tonight on the Real HD Show. Peace to everyone out there. Peace to everyone out there, staying vigilant, staying aware, staying clear. My, I'm your host, the Victorious One, and we are here to get it done. And we already got some folks up in the building. We got Sister Denise and Sister Aurora already in the building. Peace to y'all. What's happening?
Good
Hey,
evening. How's everyone?
evening.
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
Oh,
Doing
great.
well.
You see,
This is for
how
Monday, right?
was your week? How was your week? Last time we talked, everybody kind of went in the wind, and hopefully everybody stayed safe, and hopefully everybody was progressive during that time period.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing. That's an awesome thing. So before we get too far into it and too far gone with everything we got popping, does somebody have like a TV or a radio or something happening in the background? If you could turn that down, that'd be great.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Because then that pierces through you know the broadcast.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on your notifications. So every time we have a Real HD show, you can have a higher discussion with us. You can tap in and do it because that's what we're here for, man. Especially tonight with this topic, very important. But before that, let's thank some folks throwing some money around for us. Total Package Energy, TPE, Waters, Teas, Gels, Zips, all natural melanated company out of Westchester, New York. Really dope dude. Olympic tested, people approved. Because some of us have a second half to our day, and we need that little extra to get through. Redeem Vacations bring 5 people to the Real HD Show or any show on the Real HD Show network. You too will get a 4-day, 3-night stay at an American spot near you that you choose. Be Healthy Fresh Food Markets. If you're ever in the Rock area, if you want your soups, your salads, your wraps, all your healthy stuff, your smoothies, all your healthy stuff to keep you going, go see Niggas, go see Imhotep at one of their 4 locations in the Rock. They will hit you off. Tell them the Real HD Show sent you. NOLA, that's right, NOLA Bats Footwear, revolutionary footwear to help your joints and your knees because ain't nobody getting no younger and we need that. You know what I mean? Not just for style, but they have that stylish edge to them too. They like a blend between Hirachis and Vans. Go check them out. Also, Black House. Go check out the Black House on Monroe Ave for all your art and cultural needs. Tell them the Real HD Show sent you. Also, this Wednesday, my man John Jabari is going to be on the Real HD Show. That's right. Professor John Jabari is going to be on the Real HD Show. Thanks to Godspeed. And he's going to be talking about his book, Quest Nutrition, Network Lifestyle Manual, Nutrition, Fitness, and Guide to Optimal Health. We will give him an interview. Hopefully, he can stick around and chop it up with us about all of the really, really crazy stuff we talk about on this show. And look for that this Wednesday. That's going to be a really dope interview. Really, really, a lot of hot things happening with that. And we're going to get deep, man. We're going to touch some subject matters that we've brought up on the show. And, in our normal fashion, we're going to see what that brother has to offer. But without further ado, and I know it's going to be dope, so tune in, spread that around, tell everybody to get involved. Let's jump into our ancestors and elders blueprint on the Real HD Show. Here we go. Tonight's elders and ancestors blueprint, because we're standing on the shoulders of greatness, comes from brother none other than Malcolm X. And since segregation is all in the news, it's all the latest rage, it's all anybody's talking about, with the orange man running around doing his thing. We got some insights on that a little bit later. Y'all stay tuned. We're gonna get to Malcolm X, and we're gonna take it from hip hop cartoons. We're only gonna play a minute. We can't play the entire speech because Malcolm like to freestyle. Malcolm like to give it. And Malcolm will have us with our pen and our pencil out, exhausted, but you felt good when you walk away. But you was like, "Yo, I gotta go research that." But let's listen to what
Exactly.
Brother Malcolm says. Let's check out the anime. Show this to your kids if you can, your elders, your people. We're approaching our dynamite orators and historical figures in a really revering way on Elders and Ancestors Blueprint. Here we go.
Listen. Who has created the slum and the ghetto that you're living in? Nothing but a death.
And since the American white man has used his control over the press and over the textbooks and over all forms of media to make it appear that he has done us a favor by bringing us here and enslaving us, then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has to rewrite history or retell history. And since the white man can't dispute this truth, he tries to defend himself by saying that Mr. Muhammad is teaching hate. It's not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here. It's truth. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated. It's truth. It's not hate to say that the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in this country, came up with a hypocritical desegregation decision 9 years ago, which they haven't enforced yet. That's not hate. That's truth.
You're quoted as having said when an airliner crashed with a number of white people on board that you were glad it happened.
The white race in this country collectively are guilty of these crimes that our people are suffering from collectively, and therefore they would suffer some collective disaster, collective grief. And when that plane crashed in France with 130 white people on it, and we learned that 120 of them were from the state of Georgia, the state that my own grandfather's was a slave in, why, to me, it couldn't have been anything but an act of God, a blessing from God, and I frankly and sincerely pray for similar blessings from him to repeat themselves as often as we can spare them.
But I take it then you support the freedom-loving attempts of the peaceful marchers in Alabama and these places.
You don't get freedom peacefully. Freedom is never safeguarded peacefully. Anyone who is depriving you of freedom isn't deserving of a peaceful approach by the ones who are being deprived of their freedom. And when black people in this country come out from under the mental straitjacket that the Negro clergymen have placed them in, and begin to see that the only way you can get freedom is to get it the same way the white man in this country got it from England, or he says he got it from England. He was willing to pay the price for freedom. When you're willing to pay the price for freedom, then you get it. But the Negro in this country has never been willing to pay the price for his freedom. All of the price that we have been paying in the past has been freedom for the white man. We fought abroad so that the white man in America could be free today to sick police dogs on us, to beat our people in the heads with police clubs, and to turn water hose on little women and children and babies simply because they want to walk down the street like decent human beings. That's now the only way you can have peace is to eliminate those injustices, and the American white man is not going to eliminate them. He's going to talk that pretty talk, but he'll still continue to practice those inhuman deeds.
You got the Honorable Elijah's message yourself behind prison walls.
When I was a Christian, I committed many crimes, and those crimes led to my...
All right, so we got Brother Malcolm in, and he's talking that talk like he always do. That's battery in the back for me. I don't know how other people, interpret what the good brother's talking about, but that's always energizing for me to see Brother Malcolm, talking that. It makes me know that I'm doing the right thing with my time, and with my energy, and I hope to continue in his legacy. I can't be him, but I'm gonna try to live up to that standard.
Indeed.
Y'all thoughts on what the honorable brother was talking about, and does any of that kind of ring true today?
Yes, it resonates with me. I mean, my father, I believe Malcolm X's dad was a follower of Marcus Garvey, and my dad happened to be of Jamaican descent, so he loved Marcus Garvey. And sadly, in order to get peace, you have to go to war. You know, this administration, this country has been waging war on melanated people for centuries. And this new administration is nothing shy of the SS in 1930, 1935
Mm,
Germany. That's how I look
mm-hmm,
at it.
mm-hmm,
The propaganda doesn't start, like, whatever propaganda that they um try to impose, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. You have to get into the mind of the people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
similarly to Adolf, this is what this administration is doing. So if you play these industrial psychology on people and make them think these people are criminals, these people are wicked, they're evil, you have less compassion for the those who are being impacted by the DEI or whatever other policies. Or now my sister lives in Baltimore, they're shutting down Social Security building offices. Who is it impacting? Who they think is going to impact? So yeah,
mm,
sometimes you have to go to war to achieve peace.
right. Absolutely. Peace, Don. How you doing, bro?
Peace. What's going on, my brother?
Welcome to the
How's
Real
everybody
HD show,
doing?
man. We got Brother Luck on, and I'm switching my set
Good
from
evening.
in the bonus to the Real HD show. And now we really cooking. Y'all sit down, y'all put y'all feet up. Y'all like my crib? Fly, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
Mm.
Nah, I'm playing. Thank you, Sister Denise, for that, that opening. We got Brother Luck on. Peace to you. Peace to the G. How are you?
Good
Peace.
evening.
Yeah, man. We
Good
saw
evening.
Brother Malcolm, and he was talking about segregation. He didn't quite get to that part, but Brother Malcolm like to warm up. He get that
Hmm.
engine revving, and by the time he get to 18, 20 minutes in, he on fire. His hair's on fire. He on fire. He doing it big. And you guys go to Hip Hop Cartoons, Neely
Hmm.
Fuller channel, and support that brother who makes those cartoons about our great ancestors and what they had to offer, from a righteous perspective, and from a research perspective, and from a cultural perspective. They got everybody in there from David Banner to hashtag to uh, Lord Jamar. I mean, anybody who has ever fought for our freedom, justice, and liberation. He's tried to take their activities, their speeches, their words, their actions, and put it into an anime form to teach the babies. So go check that out. Hip Hop Cartoons, Neely Fuller channel. Lot to offer there. That's where I got that from. Um, Anybody got anything else going on with that particular topic? What that Brother Malcolm X was saying about separation? Not really. Okay, so let's keep it moving, man, because we got a lot of people on. Oh, before we get moving, brother Don has a book. You want to tell him about your book, bro, so we get through our promos and everything, and we're gonna have brother Don on to interview him about his book and everything that's going on with him. Tell him about your book, bro.
Sure, sure. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
So I published a book back in 2020. It was actually dedicated to my ex girlfriend who passed away back in 2015. Um, she had some health issues. And so, at the time, you go through your trials and tribulations. So what happened was, how the book became was, I was just trying to figure out ways of kind of representing and keeping her legacy alive, even though, she had family and friends that loved her, of course, but I wanted to do more. So I was actually conversating with my oldest daughter one day, and she was just like, Dad, um, I know you love to write and you're acting, doing your acting stuff. She said, "Did you ever think about doing a book?" So I said, it's funny, that you said that, and I said, but I'm trying to figure out how to go about it. So how I came up doing a children's book was, I thought it was a great idea because, for one, the book title name is The Princess and Her Bear. You can find it on Barnes and Nobles. You can find it on Amazon. And basically, why I titled that, because that was actually me and my girlfriend's nicknames. And so what I did was to formate it into the children's book, because I figured it was something not only actually for adults to read, because once you know the story behind it is something that is sentimental, but also made it something for kids also to enjoy, to see a love story and how things became. So that's why that was my biggest inspiration on doing the book, and just keeping her legacy and name alive and stuff like that. And also, when you get the book, it actually has a picture of her. Her name was Martha. It actually has a picture of her in the back of the book.
I got it right here, bro. I'm about to share it right now with the folks.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem,
Nice.
bro.
Beautiful
Absolutely, man.
tribute.
Let's get that out there to the people. Y'all make sure y'all go out there. Real HD show, y'all support. Y'all sit down with y'all babies and y'all give them that hour of reading.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Also, I just actually, I don't know if I spoke to you, Luck, about it. I actually just finished about 5 months ago. I just finished writing my first movie script. It's a comedy, actually. It's called Hi Granny.
Okay.
It's a young lady that she actually brought the subject to me, but she didn't know how to go about it. So I actually sat down with her. She's from Atlanta, actually, and she gave me her thoughts and process. But like I said, she didn't know how to go about it. So my brother actually connected us, and I just, fell in love with the story, how she wanted it to be, and I just started writing and formatted the movie script. She's actually currently trying to shop the movie as we speak. So I'm just crossing my fingers and praying on it, and hope everything be a success.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Let's give our
Nice.
brother a clap for
Congratulations.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Put a little
Yes.
fire on the background for him. Put a little fire back
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Appreciate
Fire
it. Thank
coming.
you.
Fire coming. Fire
Thank
for
you.
all
there.
your activities, good bro.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, fire for all your great
He's
activities.
been
man.
in his
Keep it up.
bag. He's been in his bag for quite a while. He's been putting in the
Oh,
work for a
I
long
can't wait
time.
I can't wait for you to come on for the interview, bro. That's gonna be powerful.
Word.
Thank
Word.
you.
Yeah, that's gonna be powerful. That's gonna be powerful. But speaking of, us trying to keep ourselves healthy, wealthy, and wiser, you know what I'm saying? So that we don't have to say goodbye to our loved ones. Let's get into our AAT report. Healthy, wealthy, and wiser for a brand new you. Here we go. We're in the middle of our health report, Aero Aqua Terra. Anything under the land, sea, air that makes us healthy, we're going to talk about it on the Real HD show because we need cell power because of the years, the pandemic, and all of the other things that they got trying to plan for us. You know what I mean? We got to look out for each other's health. So tonight we're going to go back to a oldie but goodie on the show. Shout out to this Brooklynite doing it big. We're going to Maccabee, and he's talking tonight about alligator pepper. Here we go.
Medical Monday. Alligator pepper out of West Africa, In the family of ginger. Alligator pepper out of West Africa, Follow me finger. See it ya, I saw it flavor. Use it to give the food flavor. Tastes nice, something to savor. Grind it with a pestle and mortar. It's in Guinea, it's in Ghana, Sierra Leone, Liberia. Natural, not manufacture. This one's from Nigeria. Lots of health benefit. Yeah. Fight against bad bacteria. Fibroids treats malaria. Constipation, nausea, blood sugar, blood pressure, regulator, gastrointestinal disorder, anti-inflammatory things in ya. Also a natural Viagra. Whole heap of things in this little fella. In Africa, it's a very good seller. Diuretic, worm expeller. Some say a negativity repeller. The Igbo use it with the cola. They say a prayer to the creator and give thanks to the ancestors. Some powerful things are in our nature. A medical Monday. Yes, sire.
Yes, I are. That is
Bop, bop,
Maccabee.
bop, bop.
Bless that brother for giving me permission to rock his stuff on the show. His stuff is dynamite. Go on his channel. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. That brother works hard. He
Yeah.
gives us all the homeopathic remedies that we can stand. But he puts the little, he puts the reggae on it. He puts the music on it, and he makes it accepting and heartwarming. Anybody ever have any experience with alligator pepper? We did cayenne pepper. We did Scotch bonnet pepper on the
That's
show.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Benefits of those things. Anybody have any experience with alligator pepper?
Never heard of it
No,
till right
never
now.
heard of it.
Educated me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just enlightened me. I never heard of it till this moment.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's it, our ancestors were no dummies. Our
Mm-hmm.
grandmothers and grandfathers were no dummies. So
That's
when they
right.
would crush those elements in food and put it in there, they knew
Mm-hmm.
what they were doing.
Yep.
They knew the medicinal benefits of what it brought to not only their family but themselves. And when you're dealing with alligator pepper, it coagulates the blood. It
Mm-hmm.
it it makes it you know it 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 also is like
Excuse me.
it helps you to it's an expellant. It helps you to expel pathogens out of the body.
Mm.
Mhm.
Pepper is awesome for you. So whatever form you can get a pepper in, especially pepper out of the wild pepper seed from the
Right.
wild, and you can crush it up and add it to your diet as a diuretic. Oh, you gonna get so many beautiful blessings health wise from putting pepper in your diet. And you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
take it real hard if you're not a spice person, but you can add it to like smoothies, you can add it to teas, you can take it mildly, and it'll definitely benefit you in the long run. Anybody else want to talk about pepper or any of the things that you saw in the video that might have caught your eye?
No,
I'm
like
about
Brother
to.
Luck
That's
said.
actually it's like a rewinder. I'm about to rewind that one. After a while, I was really enjoying his flow. To be honest with you,
Right?
I
That's
was
the
Yeah,
digging the
good
flow.
thing.
I was kind of
yeah,
at my 4 count. I was like this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
All his videos are like that. Like every
Mm-hmm.
single one.
Yeah.
He does a medical Mondays one, and he does a Wame Eat Wednesdays.
Mhm.
So it's a
Yeah.
Monday and a Wednesday one that he does. And me and him talked on the phone, and we had a heart to heart. And he was like, "Bro, I don't care. Let's just keep the information. Let's keep the awareness going. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?" And he has actual music out as well. So go
Oh,
check
dope.
him out. Give him some
Dope.
love on his
Maccabee.
channel. Listen to his music. Give him some likes. It helps the algorithm. It helps him grow whatever he's trying to do with his
Yep.
music and his platform. So check that out.
Indeed.
Okay.
And since we're still in a medical situation, for whoever thinks this is worth it, um, there's a 2010 Rockefeller Foundation report on how the COVID pandemic was planned 10 years prior.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Um, I'm not going to dig too much into that because we did a big show about 3 years ago on the channel about how Moderna back in 2013, no, sorry, 2009, they developed a time released blood antigen back in 2019, did a TED talk about it in 2013, and then all of a sudden, when the pandemic hits, all this stuff is ready to go like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and then folks are getting like heart arrhythmia and myocardial infractions and the B19 biter's disease, and they're getting paralyzed on the side of their face, and there's a lot of people with a lot of maladies over what's been going on with this particular uh, medical instrument that was introduced to us. I don't want to get too far with it
Mm-hmm.
because they might cut the lights off, but please check that out if you can. Get your hands on that 2010 Rockefeller Report. Read it. Come back to the Real HD show and let's talk about it during the AAT report. All right. Anybody want to? Anybody got anything on this particular one?
Mhm.
Now you expounded well on it. Like
Okay.
you said, you want to make the boogie monster get all excited about it.
Yeah, they like to play games with folks' franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you throw you throw too much truth in the air, magnetism. You know how that goes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
people don't like when
Um,
you talk against the boxing jab.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But
you know.
ironically, I don't know if many people remembered, I think it was 2013, 2014, the Corps of Army Engineers,
Hmm.
somewhere out in the West Coast, there was like almost a football field of these black boxes that could hold up to maybe 6 adults. I tried to go back to the
Mm.
video and they deleted the video. You can't find it. Like they scrubbed the internet of it. And I wish that I recorded that. And it was they were trying to figure out why would you need like a football field of black boxes that are like 6 feet deep, maybe about 6 feet in length, and they couldn't understand like why would you need all these black box that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been either 2014, 2015. That's when I saw it. And then I had mentioned it to a couple of people that I know, and they were like, yeah, I saw that same video too. And then they scrubbed the internet. And ironically, the year before, I think we had Ebola. 2013, we had Ebola. And then they, took care of that. And then 2019 is when, the jab.
For COVID. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They was
But
that's
they was
that was right.
2019.
'Cause in 2013, that's when they had the flu pandemic. And I've always worked on college and university campuses.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the precursor rehearsal for what we
Exactly.
had to go through for COVID.
Right. It was a
So
dress
anyone
rehearsal.
worked in schools, yeah, because the same kind of things that we were doing that we had to do in 2013, we had to come up with cleaning and scrubbing of the classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
holding back, making some of the classes distant ed because that's wasn't remote classes at the time. But
Right.
in 2013 and 2014 was that flu pandemic that, kind of shut down and quieted out campuses a while. But that was when COVID happened and we were going through some of the same steps. I was like, oh, okay, here was the precursor because we had
Right.
already had our pandemic teams made and pandemic response teams for the college and universities settings. And so that was, so when we started, I said, well, y'all remember what we had to do back then? But then we realized that was a precursor for what was to come. So, but I never saw that Rockefeller article. So now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. But it was definitely a precursor because that's where, I mean, some of the kids we just had to shut down some classes because the teachers and faculty and everyone else that works were getting sick. So I remember
Yeah,
that year
absolutely.
though.
It's
Yeah.
interesting that you bring that up, sis, because as I was teaching, I left the classroom during the pandemic, and I was doing online teaching, which is what I do now. And so I'm on this thing all day, every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm happy when I don't have to, go through it with the little ones. I'm lucky to teach them, but we go through some stuff. You know what I mean? We go through
Mm-hmm.
some
Right.
things.
Right.
We good now. We got to understand it now. But you know how that goes with the kids. Anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
I was in league with some contractors at the time. Like when the pandemic was happening,
Mhm.
how they had to you would walk into a store and they would start to put the fiberglass up.
Right.
Right.
And there was a barrier between the customer and and they would
Merchant.
claim it was for health
Mm-hmm.
purposes. You go into a library, they had the little barrier up. They claim it was
Mm-hmm.
used for those, PPE,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
purposes. I was getting ready to contract with some I was getting ready to contract with some construction men who were working on putting that same barrier around desks in New York classrooms.
Mm.
Wow. You
And
see?
we had a whole big contract going. We drew it up. I gave them the classroom expertise and the know-how and what to expect and how the kids would react and how to ventilate and all those types of things, just so that people would be extra safe. There were really no safeguards on any of it. They were ushering kids back into the school. All they gave them was some hand sanitizer. There was nothing really in place, and we were going to put those fiberglass barriers around each desk and then equip the desks with personal PPE equipment, things to wipe off
Mm.
the things, wipe off the desks, gloves to use, all of the things that we could use. Do you know they turned that contract down?
Hmm.
New York State turned that contract, bought an ed,
Mm-hmm.
turned that contract down.
Michael Milgrew. What's his name? Michael Milgrew. Yeah.
Turned
Wow.
it down. So then I said to myself, these people aren't about trying to keep people healthy. They about this is about something else.
Mm-hmm.
This is about something else. So,
Yep.
and I know they have their budgetary limits, but I've seen folks blow a budget. I've seen people blow budget and line items on a lot of garbage. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Non-essential stuff.
Non essential stuff. And if you want to give them something essential like, you know, fortifying every desk with a fiberglass barrier that you could screw in or take out or what have you, and personal PPE equipment around there that's like holsters and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
you ultimately can be safe. Why are you turning that down and facilitating something else? It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. It's
I just
crazy,
don't get
man.
it.
It's
I just don't
crazy.
get it.
Follow the money, follow the problem.
Ha.
Right. Right. Steve Coakley. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Follow the
Absolutely.
money. But ironically, I had a conversation with my older sister earlier today, and I told her I'll use the Northwell Health System as a prime example. Most corporations are light years ahead of what happens, right? So around that same time with this Rockefeller report, Michael Dowling, who is the CEO, CFO of Northwell Health, he said that he wanted to do away, like he's not in the business of opening up hospitals anymore. He's not building hospitals because healthcare is more centered now in like basically he's saying like these edifices that are 8 stories, that's not making money because you have to pay. He didn't say it, but I'm paraphrasing. Most of us read between the line. And now you look at health systems now, they're all outpatient. His plan was 12 years prior to it happening, and no one saw the vision except him because that's how billionaires move. They don't just write it out and say, "Oh well, let's hope." They've been planning this. This has been in the works. Let's see. Let's do the avian bird flu during the Giuliani administration. Let's use these crop planes to drop. I forgot what they were using in New York City around that time, but they would have these planes flying around like Far Rockaway and spraying and killing these birds. And that was like the precursor to Ebola, the precursor to this swine flu, the precursor to the pandemic. So they're just playing. They're just playing with human lives. They have with impunity. With
Yeah,
impunity.
for sure. For sure. And we're going to talk about. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Oh, one
I don't
more
mean.
thing, just real quick. I mean, one thing we always miss, not us, but a lot of people miss the ball on is realizing, hey, look, the movie Contagion with Lawrence Fishburne.
Right.
The movie was out early.
Right. And there was one
Oh,
in 94 that came out. Just the same thing with the monkey.
yeah.
Forgot.
But you
Yeah.
know the reason I pick at that movie in particular is because of like the whole thing of saying it came from Asia and it was the same. You watch the movie, you
Oh.
see the same storyline. It's almost like life imitated art.
Mm, mm,
You
mm.
see that movie, and that was like from 2013. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting movie.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, let's. I was gonna get into power. I was gonna get into the Lit City report. Let's do that real quick. I'll forego the intro. So this is the Lit City Report. It's the wild, the wacky, the wonderful things that make our world go round. And during the Lit City Report, this month we are celebrating Original Woman's History Month. That's right. We know who that is. That wonderful melanated sister and what she do, right?
Yep.
So, firstly, we want to celebrate this one right here. I don't know if y'all hip, but y'all need to check her out. The Amber Ruffin Show. Go check her out. She is staunchly pro our folks, pro melanin, pro black. She
Hmm.
likes to get it in, but she likes to do it with humor. And what made her show so dope is that one of the times that she has this segment called "How Did We Get Here?" I don't know if anybody is wants to knows about that, but if you watch the show, she's one of those old, she's like a sketch comedian, but she hosts the show like Arsenio Hall type of thing. So she has like guests come on and she has like little skits and whatnot. But the dopest part of her show, or the best part of her show that I saw, was when she talked about uh uh was is it Gainesville, Georgia? No, Lake Lanier, Georgia. Lake Lanier,
Hmm.
Georgia. And she talked about how many bodies were buried in Lake Lanier
The
that
whole
are
town is buried under Lake
right,
Lanier.
right, a whole body. And then she
The,
went
the
on to talk
ancestors.
about the 80 towns in America that are that used to be full-fledged, thriving economic, social townships, and now either they're national parks or underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
that was a powerful, powerful episode. She had me as a fan for good. Not only is she funny, but she brought that work, and I was like, man, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So please go check her out. She's on
Okay.
Peacock. This is her third season, I think. Check her out before they take her off the air because she be dropping it.
Okay.
Her and a co-host. Really funny, really informative. Go check out Amber Ruffin. She is on one for our Lit City Report.
And
Also,
that's on Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah, I'm gonna support
Okay.
that. I'm gonna check that out.
Okay. Definitely.
Yeah, go check her out. Also, I tried to get the video up, but I'm gonna show the pic either way. Um, there's a sister who bought eight either 6 to 8 acres of land in Georgia, and she turned it into a wellness retreat. Um, and I wanted to show her and celebrate her. Let's see, on the Real HD show. Also, I couldn't download the video, but I wanted to show that part. You can go on Instagram and check out her story. Her story is really dope. Um, let's see. Can I find her really quick without having to go through a whole lot of hoopla? All right. All right. We won't waste too much time on that because we're already far further along. But go check her out. It's a sister. She dedicated the 8 acres of land that she purchased in Georgia to a wellness retreat to not only bring mental health but physical health into the forefront for melanated people. Go check that out. She's all over Instagram. She's all over Twitter. She's viral nowadays. Go check her out. I will have that video for y'all on Wednesday when brother Jabari comes on and he does what he does. But let's get into it, man. Let's do our power to the people news. You know what I'm saying? Power to the people news. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. So unless you was under a rock or you weren't really on watching Channel Zero, which is possible, salute to you. Anybody doesn't know that brother Anthony Mackie is going viral in the news right now. Anybody seen any of his interviews?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen little
His
things here
interviews
and
about
there.
his sons and how he raises
yeah,
his
yeah.
sons.
He was on a podcast called The Pivot with some
Hmm.
former athletes, and they were, kind of dropping it about his comings and goings, and he was being really, really honest. And I have something I want to talk about as far as this is concerned because he dropped a heavy jewel about masculinity
Hmm.
and he also dropped a heavy jewel about meritocracy. So the first video I want to put on is one that talks about. Actually, I could just put the caption back on, and then I'll just blow it up so we can see because it's quoted right there in the picture. It says, "Y'all agree?" Anthony Mackie says the American male is dead, and they killed masculinity in our homes. He's teaching his sons differently. My boys have never had a pair of Jordans. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a picture of his boys right there. And then of course you see Dwayne Wade and you see Medea and
Mm-hmm.
we can take lead from what all of that means.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring that up as a preempt to what we're going to discuss about Trump and all of that. But does brother Anthony Mackie have a point about masculinity over the last 20, 30 years? Is it in decline? And my question for my excellent, intelligent panel is: has America made a franchise of mocking or killing off masculinity from black men? What do y'all think?
Yes.
Have they made a franchise of it?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, have they made a
Since
Um,
franchise
since
of?
Flip Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
since
but see, when
Geraldine.
Flip Wilson got in the dress, he wasn't taking away his masculinity. He was a comedian that was getting in the dress and making us laugh. But then
Right.
when you have others who that's different from like Flip Wilson, fine. But then we started seeing what we never saw on TV before, like drag queens and things
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then when RuPaul's drag queen show came from Beyond the Shadows and ended up on prime time and things like that. That's the different from just dressing up and trying to entertain somebody. But is our masculinity and well, hell, somebody's making a lot of money because I can tell you there's a lot of shops now that sell size 15 pumps, and that has not been before,
It's true.
So I'm like, even the tallest girls I know don't wear no size 15 pumps, but there, but there are a lot of areas and a lot of places that you want to see who behind that money making machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only reason why I bring up brother Flip, and he owns his own business, which is
Yes, he owns his
important.
own show, and
He owns his own show.
yeah,
But what I've
person to do it.
noticed through the years is why is that funny? Yes, did we laugh? Of course we laughed at him on
Mm-hmm.
Laughing. Those of us that's old enough to remember Laughing. Yes, did we laugh at Martin as Shanae? Did we laugh? We laughed, but my thing is, the what is his name? The actor who played Steve Urkel, Jaleel
Mm-hmm.
White. His
Right.
dad put his foot down when he was on that show Family Matters. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
my son will not. What is the reason why my son needs to wear a dress? Because they
But then he
had him
went on to
playing.
play three characters in the dress. He played his cousin Myrtle. He played
Right,
he played
right.
three characters in the
He
dress.
played three characters,
Okay.
but his FBA dad would be on the set, and he didn't understand why is that show me where the parallel to humor. Why does my son need to wear a dress? Why does he need to be a female in order to find humor? And through the course of television, it's very few other males that dress up in that. You had Jerry Lewis, he would do it, but very few. I never saw John Wayne dress up in a dress to be funny. I never saw um I never saw Bing Crosby dress up as a woman to be funny. But to our community, they peddle that, and I'm guilty because I've watched it. I laughed when
Mm-hmm.
Martin was on TV. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
his character Shanae was hilarious. But could he have been funny not being Shanae? Of course. And you find it's mostly in our community that they peddle that. Like, you have to put on a dress. You have to put on a dress. You gotta play the mom. You gotta play the aunt. You just get a woman who's funny.
But
Get
then you have to
Marsha
pay him
Whitfield.
more. Then you have to pay him more. Remember Marsha Whitfield? She had a show
Yeah,
too, and her
yeah,
whole thing
Marsha.
was steered me to basketball. I'm sorry for the sidebar because she loved Magic Johnson.
Right,
Marsha
right.
Whitfield used to have a thing of
She
Magic
was funny.
Johnson out on
Right,
her stage. I remember.
right.
Yeah.
So the demasculization of men, it's you see it, and sadly, not, and I'm not blaming that, but I'm saying that unfortunately you see a lot of young boys in households that are mostly women. I'm not a feminist by no stretch of the imagination. No way. Um, I'm pro us. But when you
Yep.
see that, you notice that young little boy, just I'm a voyeur, so I like to watch. And you notice that the young boy will be at the cookout with the family and he's engaging with his mother and her girlfriends. Why? He should be out there playing. So it's coming from every angle. It's not just
Mhm.
television and radio. It's coming from every angle. And this is my little man, and this my little friend. He my best friend. No, he's not. When he gets older, he'll be close friends with you, but you ain't his best friend. You're not his best
Right.
friend.
Right.
When we were growing up, when we could remember, you fell. Okay, the pecking order. You got beat up or you had a little tiff and you got over it and you moved on to the next thing.
Yep.
But it's a lot of and it crosses races too, where it's just normalized now where we as women are raising our sons and they're being more effeminate. They don't know conflict resolution. So it's a rabbit hole for me.
And they attack us from all different angles. I mean, they don't
Right.
just attack us socially. And I mean, this, listen, universal more. So I got love for those that got love for me. I'm a little bit of
Right.
a different breed that way. You know what I mean? But
Right.
let's be real. Systemically, it's been put in place in so many different industries, not just
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood. Not just the education industry either, and that's become an industry now. The education
Mm-hmm.
has become an industry now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And but also in the foods. Why do we have soy in every single bread? Why we have
Mm-hmm.
fructose, sucrose, um, man, all kinds of oses, so many
Mm-hmm.
different
And
sugars
mm-hmm.
in one product.
Mm-hmm.
Cane juice. All these things are in
Mm-hmm.
one product, just meant to break down your nervous system and a lot of like estrogen in different products. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's gotten to a point where even for women, you can't tell a woman, "Hey, look, soy milk is good for you." It's too much daggone estrogen. The human body needs balance. Positive, negative. You know what I'm saying? Like it needs that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just anti-balance, and it's to throw us off balance. Throw our chemistry off
Yeah.
balance. It's like times when hey, look, I'm not saying men shouldn't be able to express themselves even in a sad moment, shed a tear in front of anyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that sometimes, though, it could be a little overbearing. I'm watching a movie and I get teary eyed. Then I'm like, you know what? I need a little more pumpkin seed inside of my shake. You know what I'm saying? Gotta combat some of this daggone soy stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta be kidding me, you
Yeah.
know? But
So we
when you
so
mhm.
so we did a show a while ago. We did an AAT report about forever plastics. And
Soy.
forever plastics are, of course, we know plastics are all around the world, crippling the
Mm-hmm.
ocean, crippling, waterways and showing up in vegetation and all type of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's these things. Erin Brockovich did a really dope expose on forever plastic, nanoplastics. And they
Nanos.
took a survey of some people who passed away and found out that there were over 19,000 different types of plastics after they
My
did an
goodness.
autopsy in their system.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also saying that because of the forever plastics, I forget the actual chemical that's in it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the sperm count is lowest as it's ever been
Mm-hmm.
in
Wow.
men in the last 30 years.
Wow.
Because of
And,
these
and, and you're talking
nanoplastics.
and you're talking in like 19-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 35-year-olds. Sperm counts were like next to, really, really low. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So when we say that there's a war on masculinity, there's a lot of angles that we could look at it. Please, if anybody's listening on Mob Crush or D Live or Trovo Nation, and blessings to y'all. We got 900 rocking in those areas. Please
Yep.
go back and watch that episode I did years ago on Aaron Brockovich and nanoplastics. You'll really gain a lot from that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
And like to name the industries I think that are most and you all could correct me or enlighten me if I might be a little off. But the main industries I believe they really target the manhood in is the education, entertainment, the food industry, and fashion.
Oh yeah.
That's the really attacking. I mean, let's be real. When you look outside, you go down your neighborhood, and you can still see. Now, listen, this started in like 1991 when people started wearing their pants sagging a little too low. It started in 91. Now, normally trends go and come, right? They go and come back. This one never left. It didn't have to come back. They even now, 30 years later, skinny jeans are hanging off of people's butts.
Right.
Like I was looking at a young brother the other day crossing the street, and I said, it amazes me. He actually ran across the street. You know, my brother trying to say they waddle now. They waddle across the street, but he literally ran with that thing hanging off his buttock. You know,
and
I
it came
said,
from the prison system, which is despicable.
That came from the prison system, sis. You're right about that. You know, like True Islam, also known as Wesley Muhammad or PKA Wesley Muhammad. He had spoke on something. Now, I've been trying to find the footage and I can't find it. I might have to become a friend of his on Facebook or something to ask him directly what's the name of this guy. So there was an individual that came from Germany, and his mission was to attack our manhood back in those times. You're talking about like in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, around there, right? That's when Honorable Elijah Muhammad was still the head of the nation.
So that's the 30s. You're talking about Gilbrand Ballard. He was the only one that was doing sexual science.
Yo, thank you.
He was the foremost sexual scientist out of Eastern Europe.
Okay, yo.
And the Nazis basically banished him.
Wow.
But America accepted some of his scholarship.
Yo, thank you.
He's the father of intersectionalism in a real way.
Wow. What's his name? Gilbrand?
Yeah. Barad. Baraud. Gilbrand Barad. And he's, you know what? Next show I'll show the video of him.
Okay.
I did a say on him before because a lot of the language that we use nowadays, like what do you call that? Cis and heteronormative and all of these different languages that are not in the nomenclature of regular people comes out of academia.
He birthed it. Wow.
And it came out of his wheelhouse.
Well,
he
thanks
was in several American universities. Yeah, he had a professorship, and not tenure. So he would be an associate professor, and he would hop university to university, doing all of that. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you got his name because I'm a person rewind on this because the thing was that what True dropped on him is that they hired him to
and that was in the 30s.
That was in the 30s.
Right, that was right before everything jumped off in World War II with, the Holocaust and all of that. Right before.
Wow. Well, that guy is a piece of work because the thing is that the nation at the time had to stand ground on him because the thing was he took his program into the jail system. So the first phase of breaking down the original man and emasculating them in a different era was that when a black person would come to jail, they would have gangs jump that person and beat the brakes off them really, really bad. Every time a new person come in, they would encourage the other inmates to go and beat that person up every time they come in. Then that graduated to them gang raping new people coming into the jail system. And that was his system. So Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his officers got to it and did what they had to do back then to shut that down. That's at least
Wow.
how Wesley Muhammad ran it down. You know what I
No,
mean?
he's not wrong. He's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
Psychology.
Mm-hmm.
so it was called the Institute for Sexual Science. That's what he came out of.
Okay.
And it went on from 1919 to 1933.
Wow, that's when the
I'm
nation.
sorry, I said the wrong name. His name is Magnus Hirschfeld.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a German Jewish doctor, and he was the lead researcher of sex, sexuality, and gender. So Hirschfeld is Hirschfeld. So Magnus Hirschfeld, 1868 to 1935.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's get into this clip about meritocracy real quick, as far as Anthony Mackie is concerned, because he was dropping some stuff, and I think this is really interesting what he said in terms of meritocracy, and I wanted to see what my brilliant panel had to say about this. And you guys at home, leave it in the comments. Check it out, Real HD Show.
And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart, like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what?
Hold up. Limitless. Niggas to me cap in.
All right. So with the Orange Man putting down what he putting down, right? So the Orange Man did this, right? Segregated facilities are no longer implicitly banned in federal contracts. So with that at play, and that was always at play. They just kept it on the low. You know what I'm saying? How can we tell our babies and our loved ones in full confidence, work as hard as you could be the best person, be the most integral person you could be the person with the best character, and the US of A Incorporated will give you a life worth living? What do y'all think?
How do you pull yourself up by your bootstraps when you don't have boots?
Right?
Yep.
That part.
So we know we're taught from the womb that you have to be 10 times better.
Mm-hmm.
It race and nepotism gets played hand in hand. Unfair game get played twice every time, but they keep
Mm-hmm.
winning.
Mm-hmm.
They keep winning. So you still have to encourage your children to do the best that they can, because you don't want you weren't built for defeat. We weren't built for defeat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, regardless of what methodology that we ended up here on these shores, whether by Native American or, the transatlantic voyage, those people our ancestors who survived in the Americas, the resilience that we're here, we are the audacity of them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like a person leaving from, and you think about where some of these plantations were, it would be like from Hollis to Laurelton. It's not that far. It's walkable. Or Cambria Heights to Queens Village.
Right.
It's walkable.
Right.
And imagine some of those imprisoned ancestors would risk life and death just to go back and see their children.
Mm-hmm.
So we have it in us. You still have to, and you still have to instill it. But with this new administration, Louis Cipher, that's what I call him. I call him Louis Cipher.
Yeah, I got
I
you.
call him Louis Cipher because
I like
That
that.
talk.
I like that.
yeah, I call
Let
him
that
Louis
talk.
Cipher because he's moving like Louis Cipher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you said that because I'm gonna get to something in a minute. We're gonna get into the dark enlightenment and we're gonna get into accelerationism on this
Mm.
show. We're gonna get to it. Because there's another side of this. Everybody wants to, cry boo hoo, and everybody wants to, Al Sharpton wants to, protest Target and
Uh,
all of that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to pontificate on systems that never benefited us. According to Nesby and according to Black Enterprise, we only benefited 4%
mm-hmm.
Mm.
from the set asides that they want to conflate and call DEI. We 4% of us.
Mm.
Now that's not to say that some folks haven't lost a job or two. I'm not saying that because there are
Right.
people going through it
Yeah.
right now. But
Yeah.
according to them, it's not the majority of us. And then the question I asked earlier was, will the United States of America Inc. promise us the lifestyle that we're supposed to have?
Mm.
Not us on us. Wilmington, Delaware,
Mm.
uh, Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Osage Passage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rosewood,
Right.
Seneca Falls, New York, which is now
Mm-hmm.
Central Park.
Yes.
Manhattan Beach, where we had all
Mm.
those thriving, economically viable communities and more. Almost every state.
Mm-hmm.
There's places in Colorado that were thriving that were our own.
Missouri.
I told you,
Yeah.
I broke it down with you guys about uh, Sister Etheridge out in California and
Yeah.
all her exploits, being that millionaire that she was at the
Right.
time. But I'm talking about United States of America Inc. Is that going to ultimately get us where we need to be? And I say that only because this dude, the orange dude, is trying to, in his way, create a culture of segregation, a culture of racial inequality and savage inequality beyond what it really is. So that's why I titled the show what I titled it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Can Trump resurrect Jim Crow if the US never stopped being segregated? So let me ask you a question, brother Luck.
Mm-hmm.
With gerrymandering and redistricting
Hmm.
happening every 4, 5, 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sheila Jackson Lee of the Congressional Black Caucus was about to be unseated because her district she had her area redistricted. And then they
Mm.
decided not to do it because it would be too much of a smear campaign on the Republicans that wanted it. Tennessee wanted an all-white city. I don't know if you guys heard about that in the news. They petitioned for an all-white city in Tennessee. Um,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow.
That was like maybe a year or two ago, and they got it. They got the approval for all white city in Tennessee because they didn't want to be
No,
no
I didn't hear
part.
that till now. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't want no part of Memphis.
Mm.
Um,
And
so
wow.
the United States
Or
of America
Biloxi.
Inc. provide us with our just deserves? Does a meritocracy for our folks exist within the United States of America, Inc.? What's your thoughts?
Hmm. Well, that's a lot. I would say, my thing is like, look, I didn't know about that petition. I didn't know about them getting the okay for all, as they say, all white city, because the white person is as far back as 1691. So but with all that fancy stuff said, what they do is a reality because they make it such. So we have to take it
Mm,
for what it is, right? Now the thing is that again, it's just a point back to remind people of our history here with all the towns that you called earlier. So, because it's funny, because I got to do my little homework. I'm probably going to rewind this footage, you know what I mean? Because I want to lock certain things to memory, because there's always certain
Hmm.
things I have locked in memory for like conversations with folks of a different demographic, or some of us who are in denial of who we are and the kind of situation we're in. You know what I mean? Like I get into it all the time. In of all places, I get into it on YouTube all the time, and I don't even have a YouTube channel or visual on there. It's just in the comments. We go at it. You know what I mean? Like one person looked at me, and I'm gonna get back to what you were saying. One person looked at me on the comment and was like, "When I said I'm a Moor," the individual was like, "Come on, man, you guys got to stop calling yourselves Moors, and why you guys don't just be who you are?" So I said, "Well, tuk, 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 tuk. Well, who am I? Please let me know, enlighten me. I'd like to know who you think I am." You know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to get him to say the words African American, Negro, Black, color. I was kind of just baiting him to to open up a can of whoop on him, and he started giving me excuses. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm talking about. Every time we show who we are, they try to turn us around and make us something that we're not. When we had those towns up, we had so-called black towns, right? So-called black towns, right? We had them up though. They were thriving. What you do? You become the first. One of them became the first place in America that got bombed by its own army, right? That's the kind of lengths they go through. You know, a woman cry wolf. You burn down a town. Like really? This ain't Troy. This ain't the Helen of Troy. Like you got to be kidding me.
Hmm.
So with that said, with this whole thing about creating a white town, hey, listen, let's be real. You already got it. We're just federal enclave. You know what I'm saying? That's all this all is. A federal enclave of a 10-mile radius corporation, like you said, the United States Corporation is a 10-mile radius out in the District of Columbia. All right, that's what it is. All organic life, all living, breathing man, woman, and child. No matter what demographic, because that 14th Amendment don't just apply to us. They gotta realize when 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment and when the slavery was so-called abolished, what they did was they take the physical chains off of a few of us and then put the systemic chains around everyone. Even the rebel racist rednecks had that chain around their neck. And little by little, they're gonna find out when they discover that they're not the haves anymore. It's all about the haves and have mores. You know what I mean? Even some of the dumb, deaf, and blind Negro sellouts that they have in the MAGA party. You know what I mean? They considered haves wanting more. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Little rebel racist rednecks in the little, shit kicker town where the tumbleweed blow around, gonna realize that even them folks got to step on them. You know what I mean? They're looking like Step and Fetch It on TV. Oh my God, Orange Man, I love you so much. And they're on the podium looking silly, that bald headed one. I can't stand him, no how. I forgot his name. But, he's an ex original man. Don't like him. But the thing is, like, they already have what they're asking for, bro. They already have it. When a police officer could roll up in somebody's house and shoot them because they're too close to the hot water. Really? Instead of stepping back and stepping out, you step forward and shoot forward. You don't already have it.
yeah.
When somebody could shoot somebody 41 times for a wallet in
Mm,
a vestibule,
yeah.
you don't already have it? Are you kidding me? Come on,
Right.
man.
Because they see us as their founding fathers see us. All the accolades, all the talent that we have in science, in sports, in entertainment, you still three-fifths. And the more we keep trying to prove it, like I was saying to someone the other day, if you go to a restaurant and they give you grief at the door, walk out. You don't have to
Right.
stay there, because if they're showing you that, what you think they're gonna do to your food?
Yeah, I would not
Powerful
eat
What you
it.
point.
think? What do
No.
you think they're gonna do to your food? They're gonna spit in it. They're gonna do whatever, put poison, rat poison. So you know what? We sit this one out and watch it implode. I just said to my sister, I got a feeling like 3 Supreme Court judges are going to turn on him. Besides
Yeah, and
Sotomayor, I got a
I'm
feeling that's
I'm
gonna
glad you brought
happen.
that point up, sis.
Gonna
So
be a
we
divine
dealing with
intervention.
this, right? We
Because
dealing with
Roberts
what
is already
and
there.
people and he all this means is that all this segregation piece means is that a ban was lifted on facilities,
Right.
right? As it pertains to federal contracts. So you have to be very linear with the actual language that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
But what it did though, and what it's doing is it's creating a spark to make people believe that there's going to be colored water fountains and there's going to be
Right.
separate lunch counters. And
Right.
if you look
Fake
at
news.
the information that's being delineated about this particular subject matter, it has so many holes in it, so many the claim within that. Once it comes into a court of law, there's way too many ways to strip this down to size.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways to strip this down to size is this right here: Civil Rights Act of 1866, passed after the Civil War. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 grants citizenship and equal rights to newly emancipated people, and that included business. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a grandfathered law that grandfathered Plessy. Sorry,
Yes.
let me go before that. It grandfathered the Incorporation of 1871, Brother Luck. It grandfathered the 1875 Civil Rights Act. It grandfathered Plessy. It grandfathered Board of Ed versus Brown, and
Mm-hmm.
it grandfathered the Civil Rights Act of '64. So how are you? And he knows he can't defeat that. Civil Rights Act of 1866. Congress passes first law written to protect melanated folks' rights amid turmoil and violence after the Civil War. Civil rights bill in American history. It made any person born of U.S. citizenship, except natives,
Mm-hmm.
right? There go that William Plecker situation again, right? Raising his ugly head, and entitled them to rights protected under the U.S. government as a citizen. It was designed to invalidate black codes. There you go. There you
Mm-hmm.
go. So their color of law is gonna imprison them themselves, brother Luck.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Their
Mm-hmm.
color of law, you know what I mean by color of law, right?
Yes,
That
sir.
means
Yes, sir.
the law is not specific.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you
Yep.
brought it into a court of law, it wouldn't have a claim. You could destroy the claim easily.
Okay.
And they
Right.
know this. And they know this.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing is they're creating a climate that they want.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Affair.
It's the climate that they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Yeah.
climate of chaos. It's the climate of savage inequalities,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Bedlam.
You're on it. You're on point. You're on point. I like the fact that you brought that up. That even see, because in the past people would always kind of like discount the importance of what you're talking about. Social
Mm-hmm.
climate is very important. Some people not realizing that it's very important, because when they can't do something by law, they're gonna make first try to find ways to make the social climate be the goal that they're trying to achieve, like you were just saying.
No
But
Diddy.
they'll make it appear that they are law, that they can mess with the law, and then people like myself gonna feel like a little ways about it, like, oh man, see, what's gonna stop them from messing with the law? You know what I mean? Because for them to have all these judges in place, and let's not even bother with all of the other things that's behind all that, but that means there is respect for the law. You know what I'm saying? Even when you feel like they don't respect the law. But if they didn't respect the law, this jughead, what you call him, Lucifer would have
Mm-hmm.
already ran it over already, just like that. As easy as
I'm,
him getting to put a signature on a piece of paper on TV back when he was first president, to just as easy as he forget to put a signature on national TV on the camera and lights, he would have got rid of it easy.
but I'm starting to think like the Wizard of Oz, there's other nefarious characters behind the scene, right? So I'm not giving him by no stretch of the imagination, I'm not giving him a pass. But I know that when he started the birther with Obama, he never talked about this. I know that when he campaigned in 2015, he never talked about this. I know that in 2020, he didn't talk about this. So, what changed his trajectory now? Because if you follow his timeline, even when rappers were hanging out with him, it didn't really change
Let's
who he
talk about it.
was, right?
Eric
When
B.
rappers and boxers and he got name dropped in hip hop lyrics, okay? Okay? He got name dropped. What changed? What changed this man's trajectory? Is it again, follow the money, follow the problem? Because
Exactly.
the man who fathered him, Putin, because that's his daddy, Putin put the money behind the 2016 campaign, and then the other Louis Cypher from South Africa, he put the money.
Mhm.
So I'm saying to myself, as bad as this man was in 16, at one point we thought George W. Bush was going to be the worst president ever. At one point.
Yes, yes, I remember
So
them days.
now what changed that this man is going on a campaign to do all I'm just thinking out loud because the timeline's not adding up. He
Well,
was
Math ain't
hanging out
math.
with Tyson, he was hanging out
Eric B.
and and slept with Tyson's wife, but that's another story. But
Didn't know that. Okay. Hmm.
yeah. But he was in he got name dropped. He had a show
Tupac.
called
You
The
remember Tupac?
Apprentice.
You remember Tupac prophesized him? Tupac said Trump will be the president. He was rhyming,
Right.
and he said Trump will be president.
Mm.
I just don't understand how this like this bedlam that he's pulling out. I'm not understanding it. And maybe it's not what's understood don't need to be explained, but I don't get it. Like, is it a Putin Elon Musk spiel?
Hmm.
Because now you got to do what, like, this is why, again, unfair game get played twice. You cheated and schemed to get into office in 2016, and you schemed and plotted. He told us. That's how, like, illiterate, that's how uninformed this man is. Like, whatever they said in private, he says it out loud.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
like somebody on a spectrum, right?
Yeah,
He says it out
absolutely,
loud.
absolutely.
He said, "You'll never have to vote again."
Yeah,
That wasn't by coincidence.
and
He
it's
said, "You'll never have to vote again."
So let me get into that real quick before we go too long on the show.
hmm
I was doing some research on that very thing, pondering those very issues you're bringing up, sis, and I ran into this right here. This is Project 2025. Now, but under no situation and no circumstances am I into this fear porn. Okay,
Right,
that's not. I don't do fear porn. I
right.
do information and awareness, right? Factual
hmm
information and awareness. But I didn't know something like this was out here. It's called Project 2025
Mm-hmm.
Observer, and these yahoos are tracking their process of what they do, how they implement this Project 2025 that they were fear mongering about, and what's going on. So,
Okay.
of the initiatives that Project 2025 extols, 301 of them are already done. It's
Mm,
301 goals, 104 are already done, 45 in progress. Isn't that interesting?
mm.
So it made me think again, like, what's the real deal? Like, I play chess, not checkers. right?
Right.
And if they're gonna put this
Right.
sort of thing out there for people to digest, and anybody could, pop on any given website, any given, search engine and pull this
Mm-hmm.
up, free
Mm-hmm.
information, right? Why are they doing this? What's the what's
The
the
end
game?
goal? Right.
What's the end game, right? What's the end game? Correct. So I ran into something that I want to show you guys, and it's called dark enlightenment. Are you guys familiar with this at all?
No.
No.
So I believe this is the other end of the game. Do y'all are y'all into cosmology at all? Like African
In passing,
cosmology, melanated cosmology?
I respect it,
Mm.
but I don't know the system that, like
Right.
as some people who I do hang out with know the system. I don't really know the system, but I'm aware of certain things of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So cosmology basically goes into the symbolic nature of your presence and why you're here,
Mm-hmm.
and the
True.
energy that you're meant to bring to the planet.
Okay.
And I believe that he is meant to bring a very chaotic, decentralized energy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Louis
I
And he
believe
even
it.
Cipher.
sa- and he even says it. He says some real outlandish things that
Right.
nobody
Yep.
would ever believe could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yep.
dude, in his best attempt, is trying to make these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our show on technocracy, right? And as a result of the technocracy, I was building with the people, and I was telling them that don't forget the three-sided tug of war that's going on. You got the BRICS nations, you got the World Economic Forum, and then you got the nativist Christian, hyper Christians in America.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
those are your main three, centralized areas that are fighting for the hegemony of what's going on right now during this day. Who's got the power? Who's going to maintain the power? And who's going to move the world into the next? Who's got the next Bretton Woods? Who's got the next Swift? Who's going to lead the world with the next oil dollar? What
Mm-hmm.
group is going to be responsible for that? Right? Trump represents based on who his paymasters. He represents this hyper
Right.
Christian idealism, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not so. It's not so much out of the league of what the WEF is doing. They're all just vying for power. That's
Mm.
why when WEF back in February had their annual meeting in Davos with all of the Fortune 2000, Trump came on there like a gangster. He was like, buck you, and
And your
buck
mama
you.
too.
I'm doing it my way. And
Yeah.
if you don't like it, come see me. I got
Mm-hmm.
them nukes for you.
Right.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing what he said, but
He
he
let him
basically
know. He let him know. When
he let him know.
yeah.
He definitely let him know. I'm drawing a line in the sand. Come for me. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm from
I'm running
Queens.
this
And
thing.
I'm from Queens.
Word.
And he
Word.
from Queens. When Biden
Right,
said, "Where's
right.
he from?" He said, "Queens."
He had a lot of cowboy energy, right? He had a lot of cowboy
Yes.
energy. He got
Yes.
that Aries
Yes.
energy, so he's going to be very demonstrative in
Yes.
the way that he speaks and what he comes across with, right?
Yes.
But
Yep.
what is it for though?
That
What is it
Gemini
for?
mind. Mm-hmm.
Right? I think the end game is this thing that you have right here called dark enlightenment. Now, what is dark enlightenment? Well, we talked about
Dark
technocracy, and
enlightenment.
we talked about how a lot of there was a meeting at the White House with Biden and all of the tech people, and he wanted to come up with a plan for AI and wanted to come up with a plan for creating a monopoly through tech with all of the tech giants all over the world. Peter Thiel and Musk and Bezos and
Mm-hmm.
what's the Zuckerberg and all of the
Zuckerberg.
tech groups, especially Peter Thiel though. You know that Palantir, the
Mm-hmm.
data recording stuff that he's been doing since the '90s, where he record like your every move. Don't have a bank account, don't have a birth certificate. You in a database somewhere. You know what I mean? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
with this technocracy that's popping off, I want to show you guys there's a guy named Carl Zaran, and he's down with this technocracy nonsense as well. And they've come up with this theory called dark enlightenment and accelerationism. So we're going to get into it real quick on the show. We'll come back and talk about it. I'm pretty sure, based on the hour, we're going to have to do a part 2 on this. But I truly believe this is part of their end game.
Mhm.
And I want to get you guys' thoughts on this because I believe this is the way they're going based on the way that they're moving. Check this out. Real HD Show. Check it out.
To go back to Mr. Peter Thiel's political philosophy has evolved over the years. He now believes in something called the technocracy. He says, quote, "I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible." He's argued that libertarian billionaires, tech visionaries, and AI systems should direct society's future instead of slow bureaucratic government. So this brings us to something called the Dark Enlightenment, which is it's an advocacy for technocracy. It was brought up by a guy named Nick Land and today Curtis Yarden, which interestingly, J.D. Vance acknowledges Curtis Yarden, sort of says complimentary things about him in an interview. In a recent interview, J.D. Vance says, quote, "So there's this guy, Curtis Yarden, who's written about these things." And Vance goes on to say, if Trump were to get elected, this is him speaking before he's vice president, he should, quote, "I think what Trump should do is fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every civil servant in the administrative state, and replace them with our people." Well, who are your people? "And when the court stops you, stand before the country and say, the Chief Justice has made a ruling. Now let him enforce it."
All right. So based on that, are you guys kind of like, are you guys getting, kind of rocking with the way that they are moving their rooks and their knights right now in this chessboard? The people that supported Trump's candidacy the first and second time around are technocrats. I don't know if you guys remember Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica basically flooded Facebook before Trump won in 2016 with a lot of individualized, predatory, I guess what you could call that, solicitation to find out where people were going to be voting and how they were going to be voting. And they will put
I
like
recall
little
seeing
surveys.
stuff. Yeah, I recall seeing those surveys. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big whistleblower on Cambridge Analytica from Europe, and he used to work for Cambridge Analytica. So you knew that Trump was down with the technocracy way back even before he got voted in his first term. And now that he's in for his second term and he wants to play wild cowboy, I would think he's going all out, but he's keeping that part real hush. That's the chess move. You know what I mean? But there's a reason why he went and bought Truth Social. Does anybody see can anybody equate that? Why would a presidential electoral figure care about a social media outlet?
Because he can control the narrative, just like SS did the same thing in 1930 to 1945.
There you go. There you go.
You get the that's who he targeted. Like it's parallel. Like every time I'm watching it now, I'm saying this is when you don't remember history, it will repeat itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is what he did with the reporter. This is what he did with the not the reporters, what do they call them? The journalists. The journalists were the first on the hit list.
Yeah. Yeah.
As they are now.
As they are now. That's right.
And you see his narrative of freedom of speech is what he wants.
Right.
Over the Mahmoud situation at Columbia. He arrested that young man for speaking his mind.
Right.
But you brought a social media site where freedom of speech is supposed to be on deck.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your other man that you hired as your policy administrator owns another social media platform that's supposed to be about free speech. But now
he's a walking contradiction.
Right. So now you want to curtail free speech? While the two people that are so ardent about throwing as many executive orders in the wind as they possibly can are now cuffing folks for free speech. Go ahead, Luck. What you want to say?
Oh yeah, no. Just um, adding more like who ran from New York. She's a college student in New York. I can't remember. Columbia. Yeah, she was at Columbia College. She literally ran from New York to Canada because she had a free speech situation. She did her little protest, and next thing you know, they were like, "Yo," they spun the block on her and was like, "Yo, no, you."
Oh, I could hardly
You
hear you,
kind of
bro.
Yeah,
exhibiting like
breaking up.
Yeah,
terroristic
you
act,
broke up.
or you can.
Yeah, give us like the last
Wow.
five
Okay, I can
seconds.
hear y'all. Okay. Yeah, basically, she was out there, pretty much putting her word out there on how she feel about social situations, and they were like,
Right.
"Yo, nah, you performing terroristic acts. We're bringing you in. We're
Mm-hmm.
revoking the program that you came here on, like with no like what's the word, due process,
Mm-hmm.
But she
Yeah.
heard it knocking on the door like 2 nights in a row and decided the next day she's hopping that plane to Canada. And she hopped that plane to Canada because she didn't open the door because they didn't have the proper warrant to force their way in. You see, that's why we're saying some of these laws and things still do matter. They do have some form of respect in certain situations, right? So she was like, look, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Now she's in Canada. She got her lawyers on it. She's like, yo, how y'all could do that to me? I was just about to graduate. Over what? All I did was walk in on a protest and just participated. I'm not a ringleader. Like, what the hell's going on? You know? But it's just crazy. So it just goes back to what you were saying just now, just to add another case to it. You know?
Yeah. And allegedly now when you go abroad or you go on a cruise, they're implementing it now where they could ask for some young guy was saying that I forgot what he said. I was watching on the news this morning. He came back from a cruise and they asked to see his phone. Like he said they were all polite. The TSA agents were very polite. Everybody was, respectful. And he said, "Oh, this last thing that we have to do, unfortunately we have to do it. We need to see your cell phone." And he says, "Why do you need to see my cell phone?" And they were like, it's part of the policy now from the Trump administration. So now again, art imitates life or life imitates art. It's starting all over again with the propaganda. So now we want to see like what they did to Paul Robeson. Now you're a communist, right? Because you said anything against him, you are anti-Trump. So they could use all of this stuff against you.
Mm-hmm.
Revoking green cards from people like it the
Yeah.
people who voted for him, I don't think they saw it through. I don't think they saw
Nah.
all of this where it's now impacting their livelihood as well. I don't think
Right.
they saw this whole plan through. He did. He saw it through,
Yeah.
but
You
they
see,
didn't
like
see it
I tell
through.
folks, yo, real talk is this. Little by little, all it's doing, while we bicker amongst ourselves about who's black, who's brown, who's yellow, you know what I'm saying? We argue about it to the very last compound. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's slowly but surely getting rid of melanated numbers.
Hmm.
Slowly but surely. Matter of fact, not slowly. So all these people with the straight hairs and the wavy hair, because this becomes like in boxing, I won quite a bit of money against people at where I work because they want to bet on wavy hair and straight hair versus kinky hair. Like that's how I beat them when they want to bet against me about Mayweather versus Pacquiao. They all wanted to bet Pacquiao because of his look. And I was like, well, I know boxing, and I'm telling you, I'm making you that $100 bet, and I'm making you that $50 bet. I'm coming to collect on Monday.
Hmm.
All right, look. By the time it was all over, they were like, yo, we will never bet against you in boxing again. And I'm laughing at them like, yeah, because you bet on so-called race. But that's the problem. Those same people are the ones whose cousins, aunts, and uncles is getting deported. It's those people, that other side of the melanated family, who treasure their hair so much, treasure their straight features so much.
But
Not
it's also
realizing
the
that.
blue-eyed people too who are losing their federal contract jobs. It's
Oh
also the
yeah,
blue-eyed people who aren't getting social services in those red states. It's also the blue-eyed people, and I'm not hating them. I'm saying that you didn't see it through because he's the wizard in the Wizard of Oz. He comes
absolutely.
across as if he is this, you know, wonderful, majestic person, but he isn't. And so now you have redneck, I hate to use that word, but in these, like in Missouri or
Oh, I'm
in
using it.
Iowa, and they're crying because their
Yeah,
federal jobs are gone. What
yeah,
did you think was going to happen? It's fine when it happens to us,
yeah.
basically. It's fine when it happens to us. But
Right,
now you, as a veteran, now you don't get benefits.
right,
Oh, I voted
right.
for Trump and I voted for you twice and I can't get
Yep,
my meds. I can't get my Adderall.
yep,
Oh,
yep, yep.
Yeah, we're
Exactly,
supposed to be crying for that. That's
oh.
right.
exactly,
Let me
Look,
play the
exactly.
look,
I'll be
violin.
honest
Let me
with
play
y'all.
the violin. I play it very well. I could play the cello too if you want. So which one? So it's going to implode because the people who voted for him, when it impacts their life, they are going to go to their city hall. They're going to go to the Capitol. They're going to protest. They're going to ask, what can we do about this? Because now I don't get my benefits. Like, if we're having a hardship in New York City, not New York State, in New York City, can you imagine what it's like in St. Louis? Can you imagine what it's like in Biloxi? Can you imagine what it's like in Hope, Arkansas? It's
Right.
horrible. Like if
Yeah.
we got hardship, they are destitute.
Yeah.
you know, one of the
When
go ahead,
sorry,
sister.
sis. No, I'm finished. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say one of the things on what you were saying too is that right now it seems like Justice Sonia Sotomayor is like the only one that has been writing dissents, telling you guys democracy is getting ready to leave here and all of this
Come on.
stuff, and you got all
Yep.
these other justices, and I'm like, well, who else is joining in her writing of these dissents? And right now it's only Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Yes.
She's every time they
Yep.
put out something, she puts out she dissents,
Yes.
and she
Yes.
writes her opinions, and she's like the only one. And I'm like, come
I
on
think I
now,
think Roberts is turning a little bit, but
a little
I'm
bit,
hoping
yeah.
a little
But
bit.
even
Right.
Sissy hasn't started writing yet. Well, too much. I forgot how to say her first name, but Kajani,
Yeah,
the new,
Kajana.
yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't write a dissent because I figured that, she would come in on what Sonia Sotomayor was saying when she was
Mm-hmm.
warning about the taking of the media and things like that. And if we allow him to do that, we have allowed democracy to leave. And I just figured that she would have some other assistance from some
Right.
of the other justices. But she's out there like on her own out there writing the dissents, and that's why they keep putting up saying, oh yeah, she keeps, everything he says, she dissents because it needs it.
It needs it.
It
It
I'm
needs
needs
glad
it.
you
it.
said that, Sister Aurora, because
Mhm.
um, when I was talking about the dark enlightenment and accelerationism, I'm gonna share my screen and show you a quick view of what that is, because I caught a little quick glimpse of it before we get off the air. I want to show you
Mhm.
guys a little bit about accelerationism, and um, I showed you guys what dark enlightenment was. That's about
Mm-hmm.
the technocrats and the super rich dudes, super rich people that are the technocracy owners, basically controlling government, right? So it says proponents advocate. This is accelerationism, which is the very same thing as dark enlightenment. Proponents advocate for unrestricted technological process at all costs, believing that AI will solve universal problems like
Mm-hmm.
poverty, war, climate change, while decelerating and stagnating of technology is a great risk posed by AI. Now, I really believe this is what Trump meant when he said we may not have to vote again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really believe that he is trying his paymasters that he has a servitude to are in a position to enforce this And if you've seen anything going on in this last presidential election, they just say bip about AI.
No.
Mm-hmm.
That this thing is rolling out at an accelerated pace. It's everywhere, doing everything for everybody in every way, and nobody's putting the clamps on it. There's a couple of people talking about its dangers. There's a couple of people talking about the drawbacks, but they want to do away with the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
and they would like to enforce a technocracy type of oligarchy
Mm-hmm.
with those technological giants as the lead men or lead people in that regard. Why you think all of this stuff is changing from greenbacks to digital currency?
Right. One
Right.
world currency.
That's the first step. That you got to just know that right away. Like you know, some businesses won't even take $1 now
Right.
unless you in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
The
Mm-hmm.
MTA decided to get rid of the Metro card for people.
There you go. So because
Right.
they get ready to fuse into something else. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
the Fed went into pay now, Fed now,
Mm-hmm.
and we was
Yeah.
going over that immensely on the show. So just check out what that is. Acceleration is very, very interesting. And if acceleration with the interference of the technocrats helped him elect as president,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't he use it as president
Right. To his
and
advantage.
further those very agendas? Whether it be Christian based, hyper Christian, or not hyper Christian, I believe the technocracy is the end game. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
think going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the dude that's meant to, like, what do you call that? He's the chaos bearer. He's going to be the one that breaks it all down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
And is it worth
forerunner.
it, though? And is it worth sticking with a nation or sticking with a governmental system or economic system that benefited us in a very minute amount of ways over the generations? Is it really worth it? Is that the
Mm.
existential question, Brother Luck? What's your thoughts on that, man? We're going to get ready to get out of here.
I mean, hey, look, I put it to you like this, B. With the proper means, I don't know anybody in their right mind who wouldn't try to do something different at this point.
Right.
I don't know anybody that wouldn't try to do something different in their right mind with the right finances circumventing. Because people always say they make money. I say we circumvent it. We don't make no
Mhm.
money. I can't remember the last time I ever printed $1. So I don't make money. I circumvent it. I save until I got to circumvent it again. You know what I mean? But my thing is like, if I was circumventing more money, man, I'd just be up out of here. Take all my relatives. And if I had enough for my chosen brothers and sisters, I'd do the same thing for them too. You know what I mean? Like it's
For sure.
warmer weather. It's warmer weather overseas.
Hey, the whole expat, that's a whole conversation, man. Expats,
Sure is.
that's a whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There's good and
I've
bad
been.
to that. So, and then I brought up a point. I don't know how Sister Denise feels, but I brought up a point about the 44 million of us here incorporating ourselves and joining BRICS as our own nation.
Mm-hmm.
How much would a
Bearing
power move would
arms.
that be?
Yeah. Bearing arms. Get as much seeds as you can and start harvesting, because eventually with this AI, they're going to tap into everything. And this, like, again, you love to hear the story again and again. If they're showing it on TV and on a movie, they're going to do it.
Oh, I'm
I
glad
never
you
used to
said that.
believe that. I believe it now.
I'm glad you
Minority
said that.
Report. Minority Report was produced by Steven Spielberg, I think in like 2000, and it was about is a futuristic movie where your thoughts you're going to get arrested for.
Yep,
So
that
I
was
have
one of
it on
my
the
favorite
screen.
movies.
I have it on the screen right now. This is a movie starring Sterling Brown,
Oh,
Paradise.
okay.
Yes.
Paradise. Is that on
And
Did y'all
that's
see
Netflix?
that on
all
Hulu?
about
Oh, it's on Hulu.
an extinction
Hulu.
level event happening on the planet, and the technocracy giants building a fake city that everybody could find refuge in,
Mm.
and a mountain underground. So once again,
Mhm.
it's about the technology experts
Mm-hmm.
ruling
Right.
over people.
Right.
And then they selected everything that went into this new world, this new city, this new
Mhm.
underground existence.
Right.
You know
It's
Yeah.
going to
that's
be a pecking order. They're going to
I'm
take
a,
the best scientists, the best
Right.
mathematicians,
Right.
the best horticulturists, the best musicians, and then you just dispose of, everyday folk that's not going to contribute to the new society.
Right,
yep.
Yeah.
because they kind of left them outside of paradise, and people that's in paradise
Mm,
don't even know it's fake. Like,
Yep.
right,
but I won't tell because I don't want to spoil it.
right. Like the Truman Show.
Yeah. Go. Please watch
Yes,
it because it's
yeah,
very
exactly, like
telling.
the Truman Show. But you got to
Like
watch
the
it. The
Truman
first one's gonna
Show.
make you slow, but
I'm
by
gonna
the
check it.
second you'll catch it. I had to kind of watch it twice before I can catch on. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
There's
check
It's
it
another
very.
because
one.
you
It's
know,
It's
very telling. It's
yeah,
very
because
telling. Go
mm.
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Oh no,
Finish
no,
up.
no, it's cool. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was saying the show is
Oh,
very telling
mhm.
because I just got finished doing a show on technocracy a couple weeks ago, and then my wife was watching this, and I'm like, "What's that?"
Mm.
And I get into
Mm.
it, and I'm like, "Yo, if these ain't these tech
mhm.
giant biatches
Mm-hmm.
going crazy, they even had an artificial sun.
Yep, and the stars and the sun. It's like they were
Wow,
like cue the sky. They say cue the sky,
Wow.
Yep, they said cue the
wow,
sky.
cue the
Yep,
sky,
Like
and
the
that's
yep,
what's
Truman
all
Show.
the time.
yep.
And that's where when I
wow.
got to that part, that's when I had to go back and watch. I said, let me start this
It's
again. Let me
kind of
just. And
scary.
then I'm like,
And
oh,
Yeah, it's
you know,
very
what's
interesting.
crazy? You know,
yeah.
Very interesting.
this is why I also always say that it's like life imitating art. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Again, look, I'm keeping it real. This is who I am. Let there be light. Cue the sky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
1984.
I think it's now art imitating life. It's more like that now. It's no longer. I think we laugh if something, whoever the creators of The Simpsons for years been predicting all this stuff. How did they know this stuff was going to happen? And that's just a
Mhm.
cartoon. That's an animated cartoon that's been out for almost close to 35, 36 years. And they've been
Longest running
predict
now,
the
right?
longest running, right?
Longest
I
Predicted
running.
think it's
Michael
still going.
Jackson,
Hmm.
predicted
Wow.
Trump being president. So is it really art imitating life or is it life imitating art? It's both. It's both. It's kind of scary, but a strong defense needs a strong offense, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
You know what it is?
I'm
It's
glad. I'm
like
glad you said that. Awesome.
nice,
Awesome.
nice. Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful take.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just
Beautiful take.
interesting. It's almost like okay, people like to say, well, life imitating art, right? Cool. Some people do imitate art from here to the West Indies. I've seen it
Yo,
all the
y'all want to
time.
see? Y'all want to see
Mhm.
life imitating art? Check this out.
What's that?
It's done, too bad, boo-hoo, so sad. Now your daddy's home. We won, you mad, you cry, we laugh, we wave the flag. Now your daddy's home. Thank God that we're back. Couldn't take another 4 years. That's a wrap. I can take a bath in your tears. That's a fact. You got lipstick all on your beard. You're a man.
I
Yes,
heard that.
All that,
that is
all that
old. That is
misappropriation.
old ass
Yeah,
Roseanne Barr
right, right.
with box
That's what that was.
braids and a
I
tracksuit
can't. I
with a
cannot
white wrapper. They gonna miss us, man. When we on our
appropriate in
own
our
shit,
music.
rocking,
Right,
they
Yep.
gonna
right.
miss us.
Yep.
They gonna miss
Word.
our
That's
style.
why we
They
gotta
gonna miss our
gatekeep.
swag
That's
for
why we
sure.
gotta gatekeep. I'm big on
Yeah,
gatekeeping.
yeah.
Everybody can't come to the barbecue. And I know that's a running joke in our community. Oh, they invited. No, they're not. They're really not
Right,
invited to the barbecue.
right,
They're
right.
not.
Hide the plates.
Sorry.
Hide the
No, hide the
plates.
plates. Right. Hide the plates, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide the plates. No, I'm not showing you
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
make jerk chicken. I'm really not.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah,
No, I'm
for
not
sure.
showing you how to make baked macaroni and cheese, even though I don't eat it. But no, I'm not. I'm not. We got to be like that moving forward. No, I'm not. No, because
Yes, yeah,
statistics show that what they call her, Karen. Karen, you voted for him.
yeah,
Yep.
So no, why do you want to know our recipes? We need that
Oh,
for our paradise.
oh
right,
yeah. Oh yeah.
We
right.
need that for our
Actuals,
paradise. We got to
Oh
start
yeah.
saving these split pea seeds and black eyed pea seeds and mustard seeds. We need to save them. Start
right,
cultivating.
right, Right. And we had the
Getting them.
training. We had the training. Grandma saved that fish grease and she saved that chicken grease. We had the
Listen,
training.
okay,
Stop acting like we ain't had that training. Knock it off.
okay. Don't
Them jars
register
was
to
right on
vote.
the counter.
Register to bear arms too.
Right,
Register to vote
right.
and
All
register
that,
to
all
bear
that.
arms. Okay,
Well,
like
listen.
short sleeves.
Well, listen. This was a dope episode, and I can appreciate everybody that came on my dynamite panel. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all coming on and dropping it with us. Please make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all turn on all your comments. So every time we have a Real HD show, you guys can tap in and have a higher discussion with us. You know what I'm saying? I'ma say peace, and y'all walk with
Peace,
power. We
sir.
will see y'all on Moon Day. All right,
Yes.
y'all.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Y'all be good, man.
Night.
Love on each other. Peace.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Peace.